What's happening? It's Real Liv, and this is Check Me Out.
Yeah, this is your boy Ski 3, and I'm on Check Me Out.
Check me out.
Yo. This is the portal. Check me out. Check me out.
Check me out. Check me out. Check me out. Check me out. Check me out. Check me out. Check me out. Check me out.
What's good, everyone? This your boy JTL, and this is another episode of Check Me Out. So before we get started, make sure you go ahead and subscribe and hit that notification bell. All right, so tonight on Check Me Out, we got a dope episode for you. We got my boy the Poet coming through to show us some love. He's gonna give us an interview and also give us a sneak peek into how he does his performances, which is always dope. And in that performance, he's gonna be performing my book of songs. And also, given in the spirit of my boy the Poet, we're gonna be talking about changing the game. You know what I mean? When you're an artist and you coming into your own, trying to figure out how you sound, and if you notice, a lot of artists that get started don't necessarily sound the same years within their career. But what comes with starting comes with changing. So you gotta learn how to change the game. And we're gonna also be talking about 2 classic albums that dropped on this day. So make sure y'all go ahead, get your popcorn, get your drink, whatever your vice is. And like I always tell you, we ain't judging over here. Sit back, relax, peep the greatness. Let's get started. In 1991, the Main Source released Breaking Atoms, which featured the hit single Live at the Barbecue. And on that single, a young artist, Nas, cited one of the most prolific verses ever heard on a rap song. And people were hooked by this young MC. Nas later went on to sign to Columbia Records and dropped his freshman album, Illmatic. Critics loved this album for pure hip-hop heads. The Source magazine gave it 5 mics. Even though it was a classic album, the sales wasn't really there. It still did eventually go gold. But later in years, Nas would start to go platinum. Beginning with his second album, It Was Written. Still, people would notice that Nas started using different types of beats they didn't feel was his best effort when it came to beat picking or song concepts. But Nas later, his album Stillmatic was the answer to critics about his career and choice of direction. On the intro to Stillmatic, the first track, Nas quoted, "The brother Stillmatic. I crawled up out of that grave, wiping the dirt, cleaning my shirt. They thought I'd make another Illmatic. But it's forward I'm moving, never backwards, stupid. Here's another classic." Yeah, you know how that boy get down. But he was letting everyone know, in order to progress, you have to keep moving forward. And now, 30 years later, Nas is still one of the most respected, iconic rap artists in the game. Still selling very well as an artist and is very known as a great entrepreneur. Also, artists like Cormega, who is known for street hop, a new genre that the boy Nas made. Cormega no longer sticks to talking about the violence of the streets, but it's more about the journey of life and uplifting his people. As well, No Malice, former member of the Clips as Malice, is on the spiritual side of MCing. Just like my boy the Poet, who used to do more of the lyrical ball-busting, witty, street intelligent MC boasting of his talents. Now it's more on the spiritual side of MCing, and now it's using a live band to create musical masterpieces that everyone can enjoy. So in short, it's not what you do, but how it's done. So many artists try to find themselves in life and not just music. But if you ever come to that point of a crossroads about your art, don't give up. Keep pushing forward with your head up, chest out, and don't just follow what's going on in the game, but change the game. Peace. All right, there you go. Change the game. You got to change the game sometime. You get started trying to figure out what you're going to do as an artist. And you can look to other artists for inspiration, but you got to look within yourself to figure out what you're going to do and how you're going to move forward, whether it's making better music or becoming an entrepreneur like Nas did. All right. So now we're going to go ahead and talk about 2 classic albums that dropped on this day. One from SCARFACE and one from FABOLOUS. Y'all know what it is. 2 legends in the game. Definitely one of the legends and triple OGs, SCARFACE. Let's get into it. On March 3rd, 1998, SCARFACE released My Homies. The album features the hit singles Homies and Thugs, with guest appearances by Master P and Tupac, and also Sex Faces, which features Too Short, Devin the Dude, and Tila. The album also features production by SCARFACE, Mike Dean, Mr. Lee, N.O. Joe, and Tone Capone. My Homies, the album, went to gold platinum in just 1 month after its release and number 4 on Billboard Top 200, plus a 4 mic rating in the Source magazine. SCARFACE is not only a king in the South, but also a legend in the hip-hop game. Sadly, SCARFACE dealt with catching the virus during this pandemic and was admitted to the hospital a couple of times, but is hopefully recovering and doing better. So we had to make sure we gave him his props and love, as they are well deserved. SCARFACE, My Homies, on this day. On March 4th, 2003, Fabolous dropped Street Dreams. This 20-track album features the hit singles Can't Let You Go, featuring Lil Mo and Mike Shorty, also the hit song So Into You, featuring Tamia, and an alternate version featuring Ashanti. Street Dreams sold 185,000 records in its first week of release and hit number 3 on the Billboard 200, with music production by Heavy D, rest in peace Heavy, Just Blaze, DJ Clue, Kanye West, Rick Rock, Timbaland, Duro, and many others. Street Dreams progressively went on to sell over 1 million copies and helping to solidify DJ Clue as a young mogul and his label Desert Storm as a powerhouse. Fabolous still to this day is very much a respected rhyme sayer, especially with doing the mixtape collab Freddie vs. Jason with Jadakiss. So we gotta show some love to Fabolous for his longevity with Street Dreams on this day. All right, there you go. My Homies from SCARFACE and Street Dreams from Fabolous. When those albums came out, around the time when SCARFACE came out, that was not too long after Tupac and Biggie, you know what I mean, sadly got killed. And it was dope to see when SCARFACE had a track, you know what I'm saying, with Tupac on it, which is actually 2 tracks he did that, because on the Untouchables, he had Smile with him and Tupac. And then on My Homies, he had Tupac, you know what I'm saying, on that track as well with Master P. And you can see, like, if you go look at the video, you can see Tupac in the studio rapping the lyrics to the beat. And then on Smile, you know, which he was one of the first ones to do that, where he had, you know, like a lookalike for Tupac, and the dude looked just like Pac. And then with Fabolous dropping Street Dreams, he had a lot of joints on them besides just the ones, you know, we know about, as far as Can't Let You Go and So Into You. He actually had a lot of joints on there, you know what I mean? Commercial successful joints, you know what I'm saying? 2 classic albums though. So now that we got that out the way, we're gonna go ahead and take a quick break, you know what I mean? Y'all can go ahead, refill and all that, but I still want you guys to go ahead and pay attention to the black entrepreneurs that you're gonna see in these commercials, you know what I mean? If you see anybody on there that you wanna hit up, go ahead and hit them up, you know what I mean? So make sure you go ahead, check out those commercials from them black entrepreneurs, and then definitely make sure you stay tuned. We'll be right back. What's good, everybody? It's your boy JTL, Opposite from the Norm. And real quick, I just want to let y'all know about Opposite from the Norm apparel t-shirts, brought to you by G-Fam G-Wear. You like our show and our content? Then go to gfament.com and click on G-Store, and there you can purchase an Opposite from the Norm t-shirt. Also, you can check out other great tees that represent true kings and true queens as well. Shirts that motivate and make you feel great. Once again, that's gfament.com and click on the G-Store link to get your apparel tees. Now back to the show. Chill!
Here at Above Average Towing, we are here to service your towing needs. We do jump start, towing, tire change, gas delivery, and lockouts. We have certified technicians, we are licensed and insured, and we give you an accurate arrival time as we care about you and want to get you off the road safely. Affordable prices and great customer service. Serving Pinellas County and surrounding areas. Contact us at 727-288-3556.
Put in work all the time.
Whoa, well hello there. Good to see y'all again. Guess what? I'm Jay Yoko and we bringing it back right here to JICA Artist Development 102 is definitely on the way. Tickets will be on Eventbrite, and this is something that you do not going to miss. So for my folks who weren't at 101, don't be that fool and not be at 102. I got my attorney coming through, Shannon Liggin, to drop some jewels when it comes to the law side. I'm bringing you the jewels on how to get the bag, how to market your music, how to promote your music, and build that super fan base. So make sure you're right here in the building. JICA Artist Development 102. Tickets on Eventbrite. I want to see you here.
Oh yeah, and don't forget, Ski 3, the new album, Finally Finding Myself, on all major platforms, Apple Music, Tidal, Spotify, and YouTube. Make sure you go subscribe, go stream them, and go download. Make sure you support your artists now. You know what it is.
You can tell we getting money, how my niggas ball lot. Dripping sauce and get in the bag, I make these bitches fall lot. Popping tax and popping bands, you know I like to show why. Spilling liquor in the club, young nigga wild lot. Designer jeans to your...
Baby girl, God got a plan and a purpose for you. The power of forgive me. The power of faith move mountains.
When's Daddy coming home? He coming home. Just eat your food.
How you supposed to tell me what the headphones on?
I can hear you. What's up?
Okay, Trey, I need you to watch the baby while I'm at work. Can you do that?
What about the daycare we paying for?
I pay for the daycare. You pay $20. That's not paying for daycare. Period, point blank, I can't keep doing this by myself. This is your son also.
Yeah.
Once again, you're walking out.
I'm coming back. I'll be back.
13 years old, killed by the police, man. Sick of this shit. I need to talk to you about something. So what you know about the taxi cab dope gang?
The what?
Follow me. Straight out the bottle, straight out the bar. 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 Follow me.
These police officers don't never think about pulling over taxi cabs, bro. It's the driver, 2 passengers, and 100 pounds of dope.
Is the roof required? Is the roof for you, man? Business as usual.
We pull up, we betting you going ain't shit about that revenue. If I'm caught, I'm going federal. Mind on riches, always choose money over bitches. Told my nigga in the pen, keep his head up. When I look inside his eyes, I don't see nothing. That's a gone soul. He said first day he gon' replace his with Joe's.
I'm a big dog, no little. Serving that dog food, no kibbles. She gon' eat the drug just like Skittles. I'm the man, not the man in the middle. I ain't trippin', long as my real ones got my bike though. I ain't trippin', long as I keep me some racks, ho.
Home, young blood. Home. You might well get used to it.
That's right. What brought you in here, bro?
This ain't home. This ain't home, bro.
It's your home now, bro.
Home is where the heart at, bro.
Exactly.
Home is where my kids at. Home is where my girl at, bro.
You might want to get used to it, bro. Everything you just named, we got the same thing outside these walls, bro.
Yes,
we got the same thing, but you got a release date though, right?
11 years?
But you got a release date.
In 11 years?
Oh, we got partners in here, when they look at their paperwork, it's all zeros.
My bad, my earlier big dog. Bro, I gotta get used to this, man.
Sound like you ready to have that conversation, bro.
I guess so.
I don't know your story, but what you in for, man?
Man, I'm in here because I trusted the people. Because I trusted my brother. I trusted my friends, and he told on me, bro. I'm talking about told on me.
Man, it sounds like me the first day I was in here, bro. You might as well get over that. Using everybody else as an excuse for why you in here ain't gonna help you survive in here. That's bullshit, man. Even though it might be true, because I ain't gonna sit here and tell you what you feeling is wrong. I'm gonna just tell you need to use that feeling to express it in a different way. Change the narrative. Control your path. Because you ain't here for a while. So it's either gonna be a good road or a hard road.
Hey, bro, what you reading, man? What it is?
Oh yeah, oh boy, this shit, bang. Well, from a lot of shit dangerous. Everybody wanna be famous. Till they hit from every different angle. Paparazzi people explaining. Well, from a lot of shit dangerous. Everybody wanna be famous. Till they hit from every different angle. Paparazzi people explaining. Yeah. Look, you gotta be where I be to see what I see. It made a G out of me. Everyday feelings on E, but my name holding weight in these streets, baby. I'm on TV. Brick living got me solid, so I'm too hard. I be swimming to the money like a pool shark. And I can sell water to fish, get them hooked hard. Cause where I'm from, you only hood or your book small. You could be sick of being down till you come up. Channel the pain and get you reaching for the stars. Daddy walk, that's how we gon' handle it, mama. Reshuffle the deck and hope we deal some better cards.
All right, so we back. Okay, hopefully, like I said, you guys, if you see anybody on those commercials that you want to holler at, go ahead and holler at them, you know what I mean? Or send us a message here, you know what I mean? You can go ahead and leave something in the comments. Let us know if you saw somebody you want to holler at business-wise or whatever. Leave it in the comments, let us know. All right, so now we're going to go ahead and get to my boy interview, the poet. Make sure y'all definitely pay attention what you can pick up because he always dropping jewels, all right? So go ahead, sit back, relax. Let's get into it. The interview with my boy, the poet.
All right, the poet, man. We got the poet on the show today, man. So what's good with you, OG?
I'm just chilling, man. Trying to be a father. Trying to live like everybody else. Just trying to maintain in COVID right now, man. That's about it.
Yeah, man. I hear you. It's a tough time right now, but I know you're gonna maintain, man. We got God on our side, so
absolutely.
You know what I mean? We gotta even worry about that.
Indeed.
Just be more cautious and more careful. You know
How we
mean?
move, amen.
But so let's take it back, man. You a brother from the Bird,
right?
You know, I know a few people. I'm like, man, he got a few people from St. Pete on here, but you know, it's only right. We got to start in our own backyard. You know what I'm saying?
Indeed.
So I want to talk about, you know, your upbringing, because I know we always talked about music and stuff. So I wanted you to give your perspective, you know what I'm saying, as an OG on growing up in the Bird, you know what I'm saying, and your music influences.
Well, like most cats who are into music, you know, mom's playing records, pops singing, my mother plunked on the piano. Just listening to the records that were being played in the house, and at times you couldn't stand them. You thought they were corny. But as you got older, you start hearing what, you know, some of the hip-hop heads were doing, and you started, you know, breaking off different elements of records and going back and kind of researching what was going on. And from there, you know, you heard that earthquake sound that was coming out of people's cars that just kind of, you know, magnetized you to want to be a part of what was going on out there.
Right, for sure. Because I know, you know, for me growing up here and seeing certain things, you know what I mean, I know you also, you know, really, but at the same time you was getting into music.
Right.
How was it for you, you know what I'm saying, in the 80s growing up and, you know, getting into hip hop, you know what I'm saying, like who was some of your favorite artists that, you know what I'm saying, you started out loving first and motivated you into wanting to MC?
You know, of course, everybody was listening to Run DMC. I think when we started hearing that coming from the South, we were wondering what was going on in New York. And from there, you got KRS-One, who was a big influence on maybe my style of MCing, and my man Shan, just that B-boy flow that he had, Cool G Rap. Of course, you had Marley Marl, who was putting everything together, Mantronics, Spoonie G, showing my age, Melly Mel, you know, Furious 5, Will Smith and Jazzy Jeff, the Fresh Prince, believe it or not.
You went there on that one.
Absolutely. So yeah, those were some of my guys.
Okay.
And of course Nas now, but yeah.
You know, you gotta throw Nas in there. So I want to ask you, what was the one song that made you want to rap that you can remember, like that joint you heard?
The Molly Scratch.
The Molly Scratch.
Shan.
Okay.
All his beats, similar rhymes attached. Form a new creation called the Molly Scratch. Yeah, his cadence. Molly, chopping and just real b-boy what New York was doing. That it's like, man, he was such an MC. To where he was talking to everybody, in the parks.
Right.
And
Okay.
doing that was like, yeah. So my brother-in-law and I wanted to get in on that.
Let me ask you this.
Yeah.
Do you remember the first rap you wrote from that?
Man.
I can't remember mine. I can remember certain verses and songs as I got older, but like starting when I was 12, I can't remember none of that.
Well, to be honest with you, I had a ghostwriter. True
tell
story.
nobody that.
Just being honest, I had a ghostwriter, my sister.
Right.
Had penned me this joint. And I think it was like, prime choice MCs, cold dissing you suckers, overruling dominator, they don't come any tougher. Always aim and always be the master of death rhymes. So get your low-class lyric in your program of rhymes. Get the hell out by the time your bus leaves at 9. You say MC Shane is great, that I would not doubt, but the poet's a major product and I do put out. I'm like an ammunition invading the flesh. Don't invade my battle zone unless you're craving your death. And it went on something and whatever,
Okay.
I had to get props to my
Shout out
sister.
to the OG Trey.
Yeah.
Shout out to Trey for sure. That's what's up. So another thing is, besides St. Pete, I know by way of Maryland, you know what I'm saying? So maybe you can talk about that as well, your experience there as well, going back and forth from St. Pete to Maryland growing up as well. You know what I mean? Like how was that for you back in the day?
Well, spending summers in DC, was realizing things were moving faster up there than they were here.
Right.
Just for the living, the lifestyle, how people were moving and shaking. It wasn't quite New York still, but they were just moving differently.
Right.
We knew that things were happening at a pace where they wasn't moving down here in the deep south where it was there. So it taught me how to be aware, taught me how to be spontaneous, it taught me how to peep what was going on before something actually materialized.
Okay.
So that part of growing up or spending time in Maryland, DC area was beneficial for me.
Yeah, because it tripped me out. I hear some people sometimes be like, yo, ain't son from New York? And I'm like, no, bro, no. They two different things, because people don't realize Maryland, like, got a southern twang to a lot of their people.
They don't like to admit it, but yeah, they do.
Yeah, like if people go back and watch The Wire, great show, you go back and watch how they say certain words.
Yo.
Like, y'all and you and all that stuff like that, they got a southern twang to them too. It's not just everybody.
Not at all.
What's up, King?
Nah,
it's
and it's very little of that. To be honest with you, you have some East Coast Northern influence there.
Yeah,
it's there. I think from the style and how people move and the cars they may choose, but. If anyone knows anything of, if you've seen the Rayful Edmond documentary, you see how his mom was talking.
Yeah. And then the sister that was dating Wayne Perry.
Yeah, very.
She sound very southern.
Very. I'm talking about more southern than we probably sound here, but
yeah, for real.
Well, a lot of us anyway. So but
they don't know no better.
I may get stoned the next time I go back for that, but it is what it is. It is. But Maryland is DC. I like going there.
For sure. Another thing, man. I was born in '84.
Right.
So I kind of remember. I have remnants of back in the day, man, when crack era was hard.
Yes.
You know what I'm saying?
Oh yeah.
So a lot of people that may not, maybe 90s babies and stuff, they didn't see it. You know what I'm saying? I remember at least by '89 seeing drive-bys and you know what I'm saying, like crazy. I remember one time I was in Charles Park. This was like probably 90, 91.
Right.
Me and my cousins, we walking down the street and these dudes was like an old school Skylark, did a drive-by and the car broke down.
Oh wow.
So they had to get out the car. They had to get out the car.
Trouble real fast.
Yeah, for real. But I want to ask you on that question, you know what I'm saying? How was it for you seeing that and trying to stay away from that? And maybe the music is one of the things that help you focus on that, you know what I'm saying? Staying in a positive direction. Besides, moms, you know what I'm saying, and older brothers.
That was a big not. That was a big part of that. I think I was able to see it before it actually got here the way it was in the South. You know, spending time in Maryland and DC and kind of seeing what was going on, you know, in like 83 and 84.
Right.
And I was saying to myself, man, I can't wait to get back to Florida. We're not dealing with so much of that. So by the time I got back and it started migrating here, I had already made a conscious decision. That's not what I wanted. Plus, you know, you was hearing my brother-in-law DJ on the turntables and, you know, things like Bartlett and Wildwood, Bartlett Park. And I knew that I couldn't get on the mic and I couldn't, you know, do my thing if I was a part of, you know, that atmosphere because, because he wasn't going to be a part. He didn't want no dealings with that. So I knew that if I was going to, and he was one of the hottest DJs in the city at the time. Right. So I knew if I was going to get on, I knew that I couldn't bring that drama, you know, to the crew. And plus, like you said, having brothers and sisters and a mother and uncles and aunts who wasn't tolerating it, you know, don't care how much money you brought home, it's drug money and it's not welcome here.
For sure.
So.
And I remember, you know, like you tell me stories about y'all DJing and stuff, and you know, cats like, you know, that's what the brother do. He do music, you know what I'm saying? So y'all give him a pass. Don't
absolutely.
Bring that drama because you brought up, you know, Bartlett, but you know, we call it Bartley.
Anybody from the, you know, Bartley Park.
We
you
call
know
it
what I
Bartley
mean?
Park.
Yeah, exactly.
But you know what I mean? I just remember you telling me, you know what I'm saying, it could be situations out there, but they seen y'all doing y'all thing with music.
Right.
So do you think that helped you a little bit as well, stay focused, like, you know what? You know what I'm saying? These brothers respect what I'm doing.
Absolutely.
So I don't have to act out of my character or do something that I'm really not interested in.
Right. And it allowed us to go through different hoods. Because they knew, you know, those cats do music and, you know, they MC, they rhyme and thing, you know, they're the party goers.
Right.
So we don't want to mess up, you know, the cats who bring the party to the hood. Because the music was still foreign. And so we wasn't able to get a lot of, you know, Mantronics or Adjust Dice, you know, but luckily, you know, my brother had a guy named by the name of DJ Speed who was nice, who's still doing his thing in New York right now. He go by the name of Ty Meek. He was bringing the records down that, you know, nobody was hearing. And so, you know, people wanted to hear those records and we had those records. So we had that pipeline that, you know, even the cats in the street didn't really want to mess that up at that time.
Right, that's what's up, for sure. Because I know, you know what I'm saying, especially at that time, man.
Right.
It was like, for people that's never really been here, especially at that time, they may not believe it like that, but it was on some Wild Wild West type.
Yeah,
you know,
we were bugging.
You had some D-boys out here, some low key
killers,
kingpins and
killers. We had some killers out here.
Hitters out here, yeah.
And I think like when you see the documentaries of what was going on in DC or New York or whatever, those were those guys' stories, and they were real. And I just think, you know, here, you know, in the Bay Area, you know, guys were doing their thing. It just, you wasn't talking, you wasn't taking the story outside of your region or outside your neighborhood, simply because, you know, that wasn't the thing to do. It wasn't to be sold for profit.
Yeah.
You know, there's some things that happen in the city that I'm quite sure that you know of to the day that we just don't share as much as the world do about what's going on. I mean, it's kind of like, you know, that uncle that, you know, you kind of put in the back room and, you know, everybody has it. You know what I mean? So everybody has it, man.
For real. So I want to ask you on that question. Moving just a little bit more forward. I remember you was telling me about, you know, you and your partners came together and make a group at one point. And like how was that, y'all coming together starting that group? You know what I mean?
When I was younger.
Yeah, at the age I was at.
Man, we had just seen Crush Groove, man, and we had came from the movies and everybody was hyped, and we all had saw it at different times, but we kind of came together, and my one man was beatboxing, and we would, you know, and I was always the animated, you know, just you know, whatever, you know, the flow was back then, and it felt good. I mean, we were doing free concerts on the corner, for hours. I know my man Lips were getting tired, but we were performing, putting it all in.
Yeah.
And we was like, man, let's just form a coalition of guys. The Juice Crew got what they got. Let us have ours. And from there, that's really how, we developed that.
So who are these fellow MCs in this super group that you're talking about?
I had my man Deron, my man Blah, who's a gospel MC now. Myself, you had this guy named Peabody who used to make crazy beats. And it was just a host of us, man. You had my man Hard to Die. Had a guy named
that's a name right
there.
Yeah.
My man Red Cross. So yeah, it was a few of us, that came together that put a little coalition of MCs together that we were all going to be part of something productive and leave the negativity alone, because it was about the music, man.
For sure. Also, yeah, man, you know what? Since you mentioned your boy Peabody, I always wanted to hear some of his joints too, because I remember he was always, tell me what y'all was doing.
Yeah.
I was like, man, I ain't never heard Homeboy beats.
Man, he was.
Especially when you told me the creative process of him going to sample certain sounds and putting it in a beat, which I started hearing a lot of producers say that like later on, you know what I mean? But you was telling me that back in the 90s before I heard cats doing that.
Yeah, before we knew who RZA them were,
Right.
Before we knew they existed. This brother Peabody was doing stuff, man. He was ahead of his time intellectually because he understood software and how to manipulate it.
Right.
A lot like a Mantronics or Marley Marl. So he was able to steal sounds and grab sounds from different places and being able to hold the sample long enough to create something. And some of the beats he was having was sick, and he was like, yo, P, let me get that. And he was like, I'm not finished with it yet. And I'm like, so I wish I would have, it's not good to steal, but I wish I would have copped some of them joints, maybe put a dad or two in the pocket, but,
for real.
Everything works, as Nas would say, full circle.
And I definitely got to get into this next question, because I remember you told me this before. To me, man, it's always been classic and legendary to me. Talk about the first situation you and your group had for signing a contract, and because of that contract, you already know where I'm going. Because of that contract, it messed up a situation where y'all could have been signed to Skywalker Records, aka Uncle Luke Campbell. So I want you to tell that story about how y'all got into y'all contract and how it messed that possible situation up.
I was a young cat in high school, so I didn't get a chance to actually go on the road trip to Miami with my brother. But there was another group of MCs that we were part of that were able to go, and we were able to go up there, as a group, say, and he liked what he heard, and he was like willing to sign. He was willing to, but unfortunately, the nature of the beast or the nature of this business, we got into a bad deal with some cats in Tampa, to where it didn't work out, to where he wanted to release. And once Luke was kind of hearing what the guy was talking about, Luke was like, nah, I'm not paying that, to get him out of their contract. And we probably wasn't going to get the best deal with Luke either, but it just shows how nasty the game can be for an artist if you don't cover yourself to make sure that paperwork is done, or at least you're getting treated thoroughly. Everybody's not going to have own everything all the time, but you have to make sure that you're compensated. At least the trade-off is worth whatever you're releasing to these labels or whatever. Because
Let me ask you, what was so heinous about that contract that them brothers had you sign? Then, what type of stuff do you remember it was saying?
Oh, if we was to perform or to do any type of promotional stuff, that whatever we collected, whatever we were able to gain, if we didn't if we got promotion, then the promotion needed to go back to the label. If we got any conversation, that needs to go to the label, because we were pretty much slaves screaming about who had the flyest chain on the neck at the time. So, and then they stopped. They stopped messing with it. We never got anything off the record, because he ended up taking some of the material, giving it to this one chick, and taking it to Def Jam. And from what I heard, Russell Simmons didn't like it at all. You know, what is this? It's trash. And so they're like, well, I got some guys. You know, they were like, nah, I don't even want to hear what you got. You know what I mean? So it kind of screwed us over for being able to do anything. So it was like, nah, we're not fooling with you no more. So it was like, okay, if you don't fool with me, then you're stuck. And because I was the understudy of the group, I still had to be very mindful how I moved, because I was still tied to the IQ crew.
Right.
You know, so anything that was affiliated with the IQ crew could be held liable in court for making music. You know what I mean? So it was a crazy time, but that's, you know, not knowing any better young, not, you know, dotting all your I's and crossing all your T's.
And then you tell me something about the guys had like a 10-year contract
10-year
or something?
Yeah, 10-year deal. You know what I mean? Who does that? You know what I mean? You can't even get an NBA contract that long anymore.
Man.
But 10-year deal, man. I mean, so you're talking about 88 to 98 for the most part. So, you know.
And ain't no telling if they even in business.
Right.
If they even lasted 10 years.
Right. So even though they're defunct.
Yeah.
You know, you're still owned by the defunct. You know, so that's an opener for any artist.
Yeah, and that's what I was gonna ask you real quick too. Was what do you like? You know, we have conversations about this all the time. How you feel about the fact that artists will make their own name on YouTube, SoundCloud, some of everything, and then they get millions of views and streams, and then they turn around and sign a 360 deal. Like what do you think? Because I got a previous interview with the brother Alex Harris, and he was saying he felt that if a 360 deal is worth it if the label is doing everything they're supposed to do. Like, since they have the managers, producers and everything, they should go out and be, as long as they're going out and doing everything, 360 deal could be good. But what do you feel about the artists that could be doing their own thing and turn around and sign the 360 deal, and they already doing their own thing? Like, does it make sense?
My answer.
Right.
Not a right or wrong. No. I think if you're doing everything yourself, pretty much, what do you need the label for? The label needs you. So therefore, you know, you become majority owner of what you're doing.
Right.
And so if the label thinks that you're that good or whatever, then they need to partner with you than you partnering with them. Now, when it comes to a 360 deal, are you doing more for me than what I was able to do for me?
Right.
You know, and it's the trade-off for me allowing you to have full control over me. Is it profitable for me in the end?
Okay.
So, you know, everyone has to weigh the trade-off. And what's the trade-off? If you have, I tell my daughter, if you have $90 in your pocket and you go to Macy's and the polo was worth $50, what's the trade-off for you?
Right.
You know, is it worth having the amount, you know, so yeah. But in the answer, I don't necessarily think in this day and age you need to be stuck to a 360. I just think there's other ways we can do business with Big Brother if we're going to do it.
Especially because, I mean, you got so many distributors. You got CD Baby, DistroKid, TuneCore. Like, it's ways that you can, you know, you can have the side of the if you want to say the machine or whatever.
Right.
Where you're not necessarily tied into it. They're going to make some money. You make your money, but you retain all your masters.
Right. I think any artist in this day and age should own their publishing and their masters because it's their work. Whether they're going business, you know, you got guys, you know, music, beat production, or whatever, you know, you work all of that out. But I think the artist needs to own him because he's at the end of the day, he's a He's a
sole proprietor, basically.
Yeah, he's a contractor.
Yeah, he's a
you know,
contractor,
so you know, today he could be with this label, tomorrow he could be with that label, next week he's independent.
Right.
And he needs to be able to have access to his music. That what he put work in to the studio. So I think every artist needs to own himself. I think and if you're not going to own yourself, you have to make sure that you're well compensated. You know, we talk about this all the time. I need to be well compensated if I'm not owning me.
Right.
To where it's not only going to benefit me, but it's going to benefit, you know, generational wealth even still. And even then, you know, because it's your music can last forever if you hopefully you have good children and they don't destroy your inheritance. So you know,
because I think that's the saddest part about it, and we all go through that phase. I say I was fortunate that I listened and had people like you around to teach me these things for all these years, because I'll see a lot of artists still make a lot of same mistakes, sell everything, and then they end up years coming back later talking about they want to get their masters.
Right.
But it's like you see everybody talking about this stuff now, you don't want to listen, and it's like you're already making a bag on your own.
Right.
So what's the point of just signing, you know what I'm saying, signing everything over and not being smart if you're already doing business on your own right now? So it doesn't make sense. So my next question, you know, and I suppose this to other people before. What do you think it takes for an artist to hear what the OGs are saying? Like, listen, you know, slow down a little bit, pump your brakes. You know what I'm saying? Learn the game. You independent right now. You already a person that's getting millions of streams. Take your time on trying to sign a deal. See if you get the right team in place where you don't need one, but if you get one, it's distribution. So do you think it's a way to get the artists to listen to that nowadays, or do you think it's more so certain people gotta touch the stove and see if it's hot?
Well, in life, I think we all have to touch the stove in some things, but I think the OGs can't come off as bitter cats. You can't sound like the mad rapper.
Right.
It's important that we don't sound like. And then for the younger cats, you may be even more tech savvy than an OG, but you know he's lived the amount of years in life that he's lived longer than you have. So. You know, you may be 24 with a lot of experience, but you'll never have the experience that someone who's 35.
Right.
I don't care how wise you are for your age, you're still 24 and he's 35. There's still a gap difference in what he's seen compared to what the other person is seeing. So I just think, you know, you have to be able to communicate in a way where, you know, you're not coming off like you're bitter and.
Yeah, because they always try to older artists like, oh, he hate because
he's bitter. Yeah. The mad rapper. Well, but this is why a lot of young artists, you know, who are making all these millions of dollars and then, you know, next month, they're broke. Because the OG is telling you, listen, this is how they can get you. This is how they, you know, oh, you didn't sign off on this beat. Well, he now owns his beat production. And you didn't fully, you know, so make sure that, you know, you're able to handle business and listen to someone who has wisdom, who's trying to help you and not take from you. If I'm trying to add something to you, then I'm not taking from. I'm adding something to you. I'm not taking from you. That's always a plus.
And what about the other side, about the artists that may have to just touch the stove and see it's hot?
You learn. You learn that way. You know, hey, that's hot. Don't do that again. You know what I mean? You know, just like my daughter, Destiny. Don't touch the stove, Destiny. You know, Destiny, did you touch the stove? No. Oh, okay. Do you want to touch it again? No. Okay. All right, because it's hot. So, I think, you know, we all have to fall off our bicycle. We all have to, you know, trip and fall on certain things. But I think it's how we bounce back. It's how we, you know, learn from that. You know, that really tells us, you know, how much we learned from it. Because, you know, you got people who are doing the same stupid stuff again and again, and that's insanity. That's what that is.
So, wrapping everything up, right now, like, you know, what's your direction on how you wanna, you know, present your music? You know what I'm saying? What's the change of the direction? You know what I mean? and how you want to present your music to to your audience base now?
Well, kind of working with we still do some things together. Trying to get back to do some things together. I have music theology, which is my sister and my nephew and my niece, and we kind of do it almost in a band form. It's where I think my heart was always there, and just trying to really give what feels good to me, and it may not necessarily be the hot sound.
Right.
For everybody, you got to go cop that. You got to go cop that. But once you listen to it, you're like, man, that's pretty nice. And if we can get that pretty nice crowd, that's pretty nice crowd. I'm 40-something years old. I don't need to be the hottest rapper anymore. Right. That matter of fact, I'm disgusted when cats who are my age and older still trying to sound like they're still on the block. It cringes my spirit when they do that. But to each his own. Who am I to judge?
Right. But at the same time, I like, I like that direction. To me, it's showing the growth of, as an MC, like you got the, which is dope. The solid foundation of 2 turntables and a mic.
Yes.
But I like the way the Roots do their thing.
Yeah.
And Jay-Z was so, captivated by it. He took the Roots band.
Right.
So on the road,
Right.
So I think the way you got that put together is a dope. So talk about the members of the group as well, real quick.
Well, music theology is really an open forum, really, for what we do. I mean, I guess I'll be the lead MC.
Right.
My sister Tracy, we call her Lady J. She does the ballads, the singing part on it. Michael, my nephew, who throws some beats behind it. My niece Monique, the drummer.
Right.
We get a couple stabs from you to put some stuff down. My man Slim Chance,
okay,
part of that movement. So it's an open forum group. 1 week you may see me spitting, and hopefully we can get the group where my sister leads and she sings or whatever, or we can have another songstress come in and do her thing, and we flow with whatever she's doing. So the group is multi-dimensional. It conforms to whatever it's next to. That's what we're really trying to do with it. It could be hip hop if that's what need to be, but a lot of times when we're in churches or whatever, I try to make sure that I don't b-boy it out too much, which is in my soul. But some pastors get a little nervous with that.
But that's another point I want to bring up before we get out of here. Going for, just from hip hop, we came up in the church, so they'll call it secular, whatever you want to call it. But for us now, I remember we was having that discussion, when we did our first project together, No In Between, I felt like when we was going over that title, my direction of coming at it when we had the conversation was because it's like, I feel like you're a good brother either or. You know what I'm saying? Whether they see you in the church or not, they're not gonna see you out here just wilding out.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? So I was like, maybe No In Between would be a dope project. So I want you to talk real quick, how it felt for you, like, going from, if you want to call it the secular realm, to more spiritual rap, because like I said, I don't call it gospel hip hop. I call it more spiritual, because whatever the spirit feels, it conveys it through the music. So talk about that a little bit.
Yeah, I convey with the scriptures. I study. So I don't, but I still try to make it relevant to the cat that's on the corner, because he may not know Matthew, Luke, and John. He may not know the full detail walking through the eye of a needle. He may not know walking through the valley of the shadow of death, or those things. So me trying to present it in a way where he understands it, where he gets it.
Right.
I just think sometimes the church can come to you in a way where sometimes it's over your head, or they're talking to certain people in the congregation, not realizing everybody's not on the same level.
Right.
So they're missing it without having someone to come back to them and break them down. So, okay, this is what the passage was actually saying. This is what this passage means in its full content. I think we're doing bits and pieces across the pulpit, thinking that everybody is on that level. So I try to come back and say, okay, I'm not the guy that's in the pulpit, but I'm not, the cat that doesn't know anything. So I'm kind of that balance, that in between. But there is no in between. That's choose who this day who you want to serve. Choose that. But I choose to bring balance between the spiritual world and what's going on out here in the street.
And I think that's a good way to look at it, because a lot of people, they kind of turn away from God's people because they feel like some people are too much of Bible thumpers, too much.
Yes.
You know what I mean? Like they go at it hard. And what I always liked about you is the way you deal with people. They don't look at you like that. I never heard anybody be like, man, the poet, man, all he doing is preaching, man. He get him, man. Bible thumping poet. You know what I'm saying?
I live in the real world, man.
Yeah.
I live in the real world where I have real problems. I cry for real. I don't live in one of these worlds where if you send me, $1,500 and by the end of your 7 days, God is going to turn your situation around. Nah, I pray for some things dearly. I've asked the Lord to move certain things and He chose not to. There are certain things in life that I've been asking the Lord, please, these things will, and He simply said His will be done. Now, His ways are far greater than mine, and His thoughts are far deeper than mine. I wasn't even on God's imagination. He said I was always in His thoughts, but I could just imagine I wasn't even in His thoughts when the first pebble dropped from another pebble to build the second mountain. Where was I?
Right.
As He told Job. So, I just try to, have balance and have my spirit pure so that I become universal to all men, whether they're white, black, or whatever, and they see Him rather than me.
Because I think, like I was saying when I brought up Alex Harris before, y'all are kind of same in that same similar vein, because he can make spiritual music, he can make R&B, and you know what I mean, and reach different people.
Right.
You know what I mean. So I think that's what's even better. Like like we talked before, you got an artist like Lecrae.
Right.
Even though he makes spiritual music, he may just make something that's not necessarily just directly pushing God in your face. And I see some people kind of try to criticize him for it.
We're critiquing everything in this day and age. Everything is
like
critiqued.
he said like people thought he was wrong because he wouldn't got a beat from David Banner.
Okay.
But look how
he didn't get a gospel beat. That's what that's it. He didn't get a gospel beat.
But even though David Banner is very, very spiritual, like if anybody has ever heard any of his music, he has said plenty of, God, I know I may be wrong, and I got to be careful about what I write in my songs. You know what I mean? He's very like repentive and thoughtful in what he writes. You know what I mean? So I think that's something, and I think you spoke on that well. Like it's something like if you really want to reach people, you have to be able to, like Jesus. When he came to earth, he wasn't spending time in the luxurious places.
Yeah. He wasn't hanging out with the Pharisees.
He was in the streets.
He was with people who were sick. People who
he was in the streets. You know what I mean?
The very people who were Jesus thumpers was the ones that ultimately, will, crucify him, hang, off with his head. So, I just try to live a life where, first of all, sweep around your own front door before you go to change the world.
Real.
That's my main thing. I'm not perfect. I had a daughter out of wedlock, and I've been divorced, man. And those were some of the toughest places in my life. Okay, first of all, I got divorced. God doesn't like divorce. So then I ended up having a child with a young lady that I wasn't married to. So therefore, everybody in the world knows that you've been fornicating. You know what I mean? But God is sovereign. Yeah. God is holy. And God is forgiving. And the fact that He allowed me to have this child that, the doctor said that may not make it come into this world has ultimately changed you know, the whole paradigm of my thinking of life. So he works in mysterious ways. Was he doing cartwheels with me, fornicating and being divorced? Nah, but he works it out for his glory. That much I do know. That much I do.
Yeah, and like I said, I think that's what it shows, a testament, because people, you know, that we know we're not perfect.
Right.
And we understand that. And I think you convey that in your music, you know what I'm saying, very well, because you don't make people like, you know, you remember we was in the studio a while back.
Mm-hmm.
You know, one of my young lady friends, she came in, she heard it, and she just heard the poetry in it.
Right.
And like, it's funny you say that. That's his name.
The poet.
That's the poet. You know what I mean?
Well,
So,
thank you. Well, Jay,
yeah.
you know, before, when we was working on that No In Between album that we're gonna redo with Music Theology, there was a place where, you know, I didn't know if I wanted to do hip hop anymore. You know, especially with the way the landscape was changing, and I didn't want to hate Coach Cash make the music that they make. I'm still a boom bap dude, and that, you know, like, well, you need to change. I'm still a boom bap dude. That's what I am. Right. You know, it is what it is. Still sweatsuit and sneakers or whatever. You know, I may suit it up every once in a while too. Don't get me wrong.
Be clean on it.
Yeah. But so it was like being able to, you know, do it in a way where it was compelling to me, and then with the help of some cats with cross movement and everything, God really blessed that project, and we was able to see some life for me in hip hop again.
Right. So before we get out of here, man, real quick, let them know what it is, man. Y'all doing Music Theology. Let them know what's up with structure real quick.
You know, Music Theology, you know, like I said, we're gonna revamp the No In Between album with a couple songs added on. Structure, you know, try to label my own self with Fluffwear clothing and Face Shield clothing and Destiny Faith clothing. Just trying to get out here and launch and be an entrepreneur, trying to make some things happen, being able to generate income so that you can be a blessing to those who are less fortunate. Trying to, you know, being able to give back to those who don't have without expecting anything back in return from them. You know, hopefully one day we can be a ministry that can income people with low income so they can be homeowners, so they're proud of what they're able to do, you know, for their communities, and being able to change one household at a time if we can, man. That's structure. With some structure.
Yeah,
everybody needs structure.
You know
I need structure. I need structure.
So, man, I want to thank you again, Poet, man. I appreciate your time, man. You know what I'm saying? I definitely wanted you to, you know, tell your story. Definitely let people check you out, you know what I mean?
No doubt.
We definitely appreciate you coming on, man.
No doubt. I don't do interviews often. I try to stay out of the limelight. But he ran me down and he caught me on this one. So, but it's been good, man. It was good being able to talk to the people and, you know, allowing them to be able to hear my voice, because I've always been kind of quiet. Not really quiet in person,
I don't know about no quiet.
but just kind of quiet in how I maneuver in the street or whatever.
Definitely.
You know, I try to dodge a lot of stuff, but this was therapeutic in many ways. So.
For sure. All right, man.
Bless.
I appreciate you, man.
Peace. One.
All right. So I know y'all caught some gems from that interview. You know what I mean? Go ahead, keep commenting. Let us know what you think. So without further ado, we're going to go ahead and get into what we promised you already, the performance of the poet, my book of songs.
Are you enjoying yourselves, ladies and gentlemen? Thank you very much. You know, there's a lot of places you could have went tonight, but you chose to come and do your thing with us. It's greatly appreciated. You gave your time, the most important element of life, time. So thank you for that. And I'm waiting on this young lady to show up. She sings this part of the song that we call My Book of Songs. And really, when I rap it, you don't really want to listen to me, you really want to listen to her. Because she said it so eloquently. This is my book. This is my book. I can't sing what she got to do, guys. And you know, this song inspired me just as a Christian, being a believer. and falling short of the glory of God. Kind of like David, when he was sitting out on the balcony and he saw Bathsheba when his men were out for war. And he looked over at her and saw that she was beautiful. And he had his men to go over and bring her to him, and they had relations, and she ended up getting pregnant. And what sin does is try to cover things rather than being honest with it. So he brought the man home to pull it off, but Uriah didn't. So he figured I better have him killed. So have him put on the front line. But God still, you know, you can bury the truth 30 feet deep and it'll still rise to the top. And Nathan came and said, for you are the man. That was the book of Psalms. Today I got my own. Kick in. Yes, sir. Trey, you know what you do. Yes. Ah, man. Tell them again, tell them again. Y'all like that? One more time, one more time. Ah, man. I feel the light on the sins like a hawk in the dark that rains over me. I feel the light on the sins like a hawk rains over me. Like a hawk in the dark. It's like a hawk in the dark. Waiting to snatch my breath, but like the waves of death. Almost push through the things of Christ, but this flesh refused to line up right, I'm uptight. I try to call upon the name that reigns, release my pain, remove all the chain, but this stronghold had the toehold like a noose around my neck, so my spirit is vexed. I'm destroyed by height, I'm blinded by light, take my eyes off Christ. Satan keeps the back before me, like fire and darts that aim in my heart. They hit me like stuff in the chest. Without a vest, sending me a cardiac arrest. Now my vision is out of focus, miracles, hopeless. This black hole is cold. I'm lost like a panic sheet, I'm lost like a panic sheet without sleep. Surrounded by reporters and rushing waters with no drive in sight, and I'm swimming for Christ. Swimming for Christ, somewhere in this wilderness, somewhere in this fortress. I miss the mob, my soul is dark, my path is trouble, my thoughts are double. They break around quick, my tips might lose grip. This is my book of Psalms. Go in. My soul peace, 40 days, 49, and my spirit's uptight. Some of these calls by my own doing, from the sin I've been sowing. But free me from loose lips and tongues that sing ships and tongues that are sharper than a double-edged sword and rips all start doing. For my own flesh, how never is no better. And I'm sin in the seat of the unjust and those that hate peace. I go out with bad intention, with deadly venom in them, and then I'm pierced the heart of God. Then I'm wondering why I brought for me. My lady is worthless, so what's the purpose? So what's the purpose of the wicked that trying to be married? Now the righteous, now we work for terror. I see Christ so long, my faith has burned out, my life has burned out. What's it all about? Is it the Lord just? Is it the Lord just? Or is it just what I deserve? So Lord, show me your purpose. All this earth service. I need to help you serve. This is my book of Psalms. Years ago, and Pastor Cecil once told me that there's 66 books, but the scriptures of your life are being written every day. So there are new chapters coming every day of your book of Psalms. God bless. Thank you.
All right, there y'all go. That was the performance by the poet, my book of Psalms. I know y'all felt that, man. My brother, he is always just, you know, dropping knowledge. He's able to speak the word, you know what I'm saying? He's able to make dope music and just relate to everybody, man. So I know y'all enjoyed it. I'm not gonna even ask. I know y'all enjoyed it. All right, so that has been the show. Check me out. And if you want to reach out to any one of us here at Check Me Out, make sure you go ahead and hit us up at Check Me Out Music, all one word, checkmeoutmusic@gmail.com. And if you want to go ahead and holler at my boy Batman the DJ, you can go check him out on Instagram, Facebook, or wherever as Batman the DJ. You know what I mean? If you want to check me out, you can also go ahead and check us out at Up From The Norm 18 on YouTube.com. That's where me and my boy HD, we go ahead and, you know, we say what we feel, what we do. You know what I mean? Here we keep it, you know, on the balance, but over there we be clowning. Just keeping it real. And also, my boy Batman the DJ has a YouTube channel where he definitely does his thing, checking out music, you know what I'm saying, reactions and things of that nature, talking about what's going on in the game. You can check him out on YouTube at Cold One TV. All right? So that's been the show. Make sure y'all hit us out, let us know what you think, you mean? Get at us. We always conversing and talking back with the audience. You know what I mean? So until next time, this has been Check Me Out. Oh, wait, hold on. Before I go, make sure you go check out my boy The Poet. You can also go to his YouTube page and check him out there as well. All right? Now we can say this has been another episode of Check Me Out. Hope y'all enjoyed yourself. Make sure you subscribe if you did not sub yet. All right? And hit that notification bell. We out.
What's happening? It's Real Live, and this is Check Me Out.
Yeah, this is your boy Ski 3, and I'm on Check Me Out.
Check me out.
Yo. This is the portal. Check me out. Check me out.
Check me out. Check me out. Check me out. Check me out. Check me out. Check me out. Check me out. Check me out.